Now on CoastTV News.
New all-way stops in Milton, how they're going to slow your roll through town.
Plans for the new hybrid ferry in Delaware, the timeline, the cost, and how it will cut carbon emissions.
Budget shortfall, a local library fighting to keep doors open due to funding problems.
And acceptable death toll. New federal regulations will attempt to protect sea life from offshore wind projects, but some harm is baked into the analysis.
And drought conditions continue to worsen with no signs of rainfall, plus an end of our warm stretch of weather as we welcome back the return of fall temps. Your forecast coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
More stop signs, fewer problems. At least that's what DelDOT is hoping for in Milton. Good evening, I'm Charlie Sakaitis.
And I'm Christina DeRobertis. Thanks for joining us here for CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with signs, everywhere signs.
New in Milton, DelDOT has installed 2 new all-way stops on some popular streets in town.
And as CoastTV News reporter Brendan Conroy shows us, people like the idea of making it safer on the roads.
More stops, safer streets. At least that's what DelDOT is hoping for in Milton with 2 brand new all-way stops. The goal of these extra signs is to make the flow of traffic smoother.
Well, if it slows people down, I mean, that's got to be a safety factor. And then you have to consider a lot of the bicyclists on these roads anymore, too. That's a concern.
The all-way stops are located on Chestnut and Federal Street, both where they intersect with Wharton Street. Because this change is new and drivers aren't always paying attention, signs have been posted to give people a heads up. Chris O'Connell lives in Milton and knows how much action those streets get.
They aren't able to increase the capacity of the roads, so that's their answer to try to make it safer. There's more and more traffic here every day, so they got to do something.
Some places add stoplights, some add roundabouts, but stop signs are the method DelDOT is opting for in Milton. No matter the solution, the goal is always the same: keep the roads safe and traffic flowing. Now, these new stops might take a little bit of time for drivers to get used to, but from what I've seen today, they are adapting to the change and getting used to the new stops that usually weren't here before. In Milton, Brendan Conroy, CoastTV News.
We have covered for years U.S. Wind's attempt to build hundreds of wind turbines off the Delaware and Maryland coast, and now there are regulations for protecting marine life to an extent. The regulations from the federal government allows for, quote, up to 20 incidental takes of marine mammals. The government defines a take as harassment all the way to death. People here on Delmarva have a lot of concerns.
I am totally against it. You look out here and you see a beautiful horizon, and under that water is all kinds of wildlife. To disturb that, to put up wind power, no.
These rules go into effect January 1st and last for 5 years. And this last bit is important here. According to NOAA, at this point, there is no scientific evidence that offshore wind development has killed any whales. This does bring us to our CoastTV poll. We want to know what aspect of U.S. Wind's project worries you the most.
And let's take a look at the results. So far, most people are worried about habitat disruption or not worried at all. Only 2% each saying noise pollution or long-term impact.
If you haven't voted yet, you still can at coasttvnews.com or use the CoastTV mobile app.
And we're going to take a live look now outside into Lewis. Our first alert meteorologist Paul Williams is standing by with a look at the weather. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Christina. And overall, we're still enjoying wonderful recreational sunshine, but it's at the expense of the precipitation we so desperately need, because we're in the stretch of dry weather that's put us on the list for really severe drought in our neck of the woods. Our Bay Health camera in Dover will drop down to 58 with partly to mostly clear skies. Now, we're searching for rain. I mean, and we're like nothing in the month of October. 2.98 is what we're supposed to be for this time of the year, and we have yet to record any kind of rain whatsoever, not even a trace of precipitation. And for the year, we're 5.63 or just over 5.5 inches shy for what we should be for the entire year. And we have more concerns with the drought continuing to worsen, the pace for the driest month ever, and last but not least, We're going to be filling back to fall here as we go into tomorrow, but without the caveat of any kind of rain, Christina.
All right, thanks, Paul. Well, big news from Delaware Attorney General Kathy Jennings today. Effective immediately, 2 of the state's loitering and solicitation laws will no longer be enforced. This comes after the American Civil Liberties Union of Delaware filed a lawsuit claiming the laws unfairly target homeless people and violate the Constitution. The AG has instructed all police agencies to stop enforcing these laws, and she says anyone previously convicted will have opportunities for expungement. Jennings says that new legislation to amend the laws will be introduced in the next legislative session.
The Frankfort Public Library in Sussex County, it is facing some tough financial challenges. Library leaders say they are cutting programs and employee hours as they try to find more funding. The Frankfort Library is not part of the state library system, meaning it does not get a lot of money from the county or the state, and funding barely covers employee salaries. Most of their money comes from grants and fundraising, but officials say there was a $75,000 budget gap last year.
Right now, if we continue to be in the situation that we were in last year, we probably only have enough reserves for 2 to 3 years, and that's provided that the roof doesn't give way or, every air conditioner breaks.
Library leaders say cash donations and volunteers are needed.
The presidential candidates are taking no days off ahead of Election Day, and neither are their critics.
Former President Trump's longest-serving chief of staff, John Kelly, is sending a dire warning about Trump's leadership styles and what he sees as the dangers of a second Trump term.
Among other things, Kelly told the New York Times that the former president made admiring comments about Adolf Hitler. NBC's Bree Jackson has the details.
Former President Trump coming under fire from another past member of his administration. In a series of New York Times interviews, Trump's longest-serving chief of staff, former Marine General John Kelly, ringing alarms about his former boss's leadership style.
So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, for sure.
In a statement, the Trump campaign accuses the 4-star general of fabricating the story. Mr. Trump was not asked about Kelly's remarks during a faith-focused town hall, but did say this about criticism against him.
I've been investigated more than Scarface. My father's looking down from heaven.
Vice President Harris also reacting and warning about possible dangers of a second Trump administration.
We know what Donald Trump wants. He wants unchecked power. The question in 13 days will be, what do the American people want?
Harris is facing tough questions about her past comments, including her defense of President Biden's poor debate performance that triggered calls for him to drop out of the race.
It's a judgment question. That's why I ask. Can the American people trust you in these moments, even when it's maybe uncomfortable for Americans to level with Americans in that way?
I have worked with Joe Biden, hours and hours and hours over these 4 years, whether it be in the Situation Room or the Oval Office.
Both candidates facing increased criticism and pressure as Election Day nears. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
And both candidates are back in battleground states today, making their last-minute pitch to voters. Former President Trump campaigning in Georgia, while Vice President Harris is in Pennsylvania.
And as we said, Election Day just a little under 2 weeks away. Starting next week, make sure to tune into CoastTV for our preview week coverage. We will air exclusive candidate interviews that you won't want to miss. Preview week kicks off next week.
The historic Cape May Lewis Ferry is getting a new addition to its fleet. The U.S. Department of Transportation gave a $20 million grant to the Delaware River and Bay Authority. And today at the ferry grounds, Delaware's congressional delegation celebrated this grant, which will replace one of the current diesel vessels with a new diesel hybrid ferry. Officials say the new engine will significantly reduce carbon emissions, and the ferry will have new amenities to improve its service.
But even then, the diesel engines themselves are what are called Tier 4, EPA Tier 4. They're vastly cleaner than the diesel engines that we operate on this vessel here. And so even with the diesel engines running, there are going to be less emissions than what we do today.
The new ferry is expected to be ready in summer 2027.
We have more news to get into this evening.
Still to come, artificial intelligence, real crime. How ChatGPT and other AI platforms can be tricked into giving criminals advice for their dirty deeds.
And next, don't deck the halls with debt. Advice about spending during this upcoming holiday season.
And here's a look at your Bay forecast. We're looking for temperatures to stay in the upper 60s, which is actually where we should be, but becoming a bit breezy for us in Crisfield. And we're going to talk about some concerns for whipping winds coming up in just 60 seconds.
In Washington, they talk, but in Delaware, Sarah delivers.
Sarah McBride helped raise the minimum wage.
She got paid leave for workers.
She got Democrats and Republicans to work together.
We're all in for Sarah.
Carpenters, bus drivers,
nurses,
sheet metal workers.
Sarah sees us.
And she respects us.
I'm Sarah McBride. I approve this message because anyone who works hard should be able to make ends meet. That's why I'm running for Congress.
As I get older, I was getting a little off balance. Got recommendations for baths by Bicep Brothers. I love my shower. It's perfect for me. My favorite part was probably how quick and easy it was. They came in the morning and they were done by afternoon. I definitely wanted the grab bars. They also put the seat in, which was very nice. The wand is good, especially if you're sitting. So much safer to get in and out of now. It seems like my showers are quicker that way. So it's perfect.
We're continuing with the streak of dry weather, unusually dry weather, where we could possibly start setting the kind of records you don't really want to set, particularly for the farmers and folks that really need that rain for their survival, financially and otherwise. Our Irish Eyes camera in Lewis at 64 degrees. And listen, we're going to drop down to the upper 50s later tonight with hardly a cloud in the sky. We are currently smoothly making our way through 62 degrees right now in Milton, 64 Indian River Inlet, as well as Rehoboth Beach and Bethany Beach holding at 64 degrees. The winds, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, becoming a little bit active for us now. So we now have a newly issued small craft advisory. Now that means we're looking for 25-mile-per-hour winds, not only off of the Sussex County coast, but really the whole coastal region of the Delmarva Peninsula. But of course, the bigger story is just how dry it's been for such an extended period of time. So much so that we have a fire warning in effect over towards, most southern tip of New Jersey, which affects us to a certain degree because we're in the same general region. And we have a fire weather statement, means that we could possibly be placed under a watch or a warning pretty soon as well. This cold front would be our only hope of possibly getting some scattered shower activity. But what little bit of rain that's being produced by this is well to our north and will swing to our north. If we get a random sprinkle, consider yourself one of the luckiest person in the world, and I need your numbers that you're going to play for the lottery, because that means you're extremely lucky, okay? But other than that, most of us are still going to stay bone dry. That's how it's going to play out. Now, a couple of things I noticed when I was kind of doing a little research today. Remember Helene, when Helene made her way into Florida and then careened right into the Tennessee Valley region? Well, this was the tracking of Helene. Now, watch this. You see, this is the area of rain that hit Helene. Now, here's the thing that was seen kind of odd and interesting. Where Helene hit, they have too much water. But where it didn't, we don't have enough. You see, this is where there's too much water, and then watch this. And this is where there's not enough. They're right next to each other. And a lot of times what happens in the atmosphere where one door opens, another one closes. Well, we are seeing that really close to one another. So it almost seems as if Helene took all the moisture we would have access to and used it up and dumped it, unfortunately, to our neighbors to our west. Our 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook is looking bleak as well. And even as we try to continue to search for rain, you got to remember, we haven't really recorded anything. So we're in a severe to moderate drought throughout the entire peninsula. And on top of that, now the air quality is beginning to go from good to moderate, which is not necessarily a good trend. Tomorrow, we're looking for temperatures in the 60s with lots of winds out of the north. And finally, here's a look at your extended forecast. One quick note. Look at how chilly we're going to be. Sunday night going into Monday, we're going to crack the 30s.
Cold, Paul. I see that. The holiday season is here, and Americans are heading into the holiday season with big spending plans.
Yeah, but they also have big anxiety about debt and emergency savings.
Karen Kafa takes a look at the numbers and how households can position themselves to enjoy the holidays.
Retailers forecast a big holiday spending season, but consumers have some financial stresses. Bankrate Chief Financial Analyst Greg McBride says their latest research points to many Americans feeling short on emergency savings, mostly blaming inflation.
Americans that haven't increased their emergency savings this year point to that as a culprit. Close behind, too many expenses.
A September survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York also found Americans haven't been this worried about missing a minimum credit card or debt payment since April 2020, early in the COVID-19 pandemic. McBride says it's important to aim for balance during the end-of-year holiday stretch.
The goal is you want to come out of this without having to raid your savings and without adding to your credit card debt.
Cassandra Rupp, a senior wealth advisor for Vanguard, says consumers can start by cutting smaller everyday expenses for the season, like morning coffee or lunches out.
What are your priorities? How can you create flexibility in your ability to spend while still ensuring that you have the proper amount going into savings and that you're not compromising your future financial success?
And any extra income or bonus should be money in the bank.
A lot of time you start to think about how you could spend that money ahead of actually receiving it. It's hard psychologically to put that off and put it into savings, but really it should be out of sight, out of mind.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
The La Red Health Center in Georgetown hosted today their La Red Goes Purple event to connect those dependent on opioids with health community resources. The goal of the event was to raise awareness and help reduce opioid-related deaths by providing Narcan and training.
I find it very useful, either for myself or for other people, so I will use that information and advocate for what they're trying to do, because many people out there need help, and so that's a beautiful thing.
And this is the second year La Red Health Center organizes this event for the community.
Still to come, Elon Musk's $1 million giveaway may violate federal election law, and now the Justice Department is getting involved.
And next, pot profits and parks, how the sale of marijuana in Maryland is leading to upgrades and improvements in Wycomico County.
As a math teacher, Matt Meyer knows that Delaware's tax system isn't adding up. So he has a plan to fix it. Give middle-class families a tax cut, invest in schools, and lower costs. But Mike Ramone's plan gives tax breaks to the ultra-rich, which could cut education by nearly $175 million. Matt Meyer knows these numbers don't add up. He'll make state taxes fair so families can get ahead. Vote Matt Meyer for governor.
When choosing windows and doors for your home, at Pella, it's your choice. We manufacture maintenance-free vinyl, fiberglass, and wood-clad windows and patio doors, all with lifetime warranties. High performance, energy efficient, and loaded with options to help make your house your home. Industry-first features and benefits make living easier and increase your home's value. Visit our Experience Center or call us today to schedule your free in-home consultation, where we bring the showroom to you.
Get ready, Delmarva. Excitement and incredible savings have arrived at Gateway Subaru. Save up to $3,200 on a new 2025 Subaru Outback with financing rates as low as 1.9% for 48 months. Or save up to $2,300 off a new 2024 Subaru Crosstrek with financing rates as low as 1.9% for 48 months. And be among the first to drive the all-new 2025 Subaru Forester. Stop in and reserve yours today. Gateway Subaru, just minutes from the beaches in the heart of Delmarva. Higher standards.
Here at the Delmarva Design Center, appliances, cabinetry, countertops, tile, and flooring come together in one showroom. We have specialists in each division, such as myself in countertops, to not only ensure you get the best product to fit your needs, but that your selection fits seamlessly with every element of your project.
When I came into the Delmarva Design Center and see that big collection of slabs, that makes really the decision seamless.
Delmarva Design Center. Great design starts with great inspiration. Selbyville, Delaware.
Listen to Coast Country 103.9 and 106.3. We're Delmarva proud.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Several new park improvement projects have been announced in Wycomico County, and it's being paid for with the proceeds from pot sales, at least partially. Maryland's cannabis tax will help fund Indian Village Playground Park improvements, Billie Jean Jackson Park improvements, Emerson Holloway Park improvements, and San Domingo Park enhancements.
The Justice Department is warning Elon Musk that his $1 million sweepstakes for swing state voters, that might be in violation of federal election law. The billionaire Trump supporter is spending millions of dollars to support Trump's campaign, including a daily $1 million giveaway by his America PAC to drum up voter registration in battleground states. Now, Musk's offer lets the people enter the drawing by signing a petition that supports First and Second Amendments. But to sign, you have to be a registered voter in certain states, and federal law bans people to register in response. Musk said anybody could sign the petition regardless of party, and they don't have to vote.
Well, you can file this next story under Things to Know. Would-be criminals could have detailed instructions on how to break the law in the palm of their hands, thanks to artificial intelligence. That's according to the tech firm Strise. It found that ChatGPT can be tricked into giving detailed advice on how to carry out a range of crimes. Strise said the chatbot came up with advice on how to launder money across borders, and in another instance, it revealed ways to help businesses evade sanctions. The findings raise questions over the effectiveness of blocks put in place to keep people from using the technology to aid illegal activity.
Coming up in sports, it's fight night on Saturday, and we're going to have a preview of that action going down on Delmarva.
And coming up, the signs of stroke, a health problem that's hitting people at younger and younger ages. What you need to know to protect yourself and your loved ones.
And here's a look at your golf forecast. Listen, as you line up the greens, remember, they're going to be real dry. Much cooler and a bit on the breezy side, by the way.
We salute Jason Lee, a proud Delmarva native from Seaford. Jason has served his country with honor as a former United States Marine and Iraq War veteran. Transitioning from the military to media, Jason has made a significant impact in radio. Today, he captures the hearts of the outdoors community as the host of Outdoors Delmarva. Beyond his professional life, Jason is a devoted father, an avid musician, and a lover of life's simple pleasures, like a good cup of coffee, the sound of the ocean, and spontaneous road trips. We salute Jason Lee for his service, both in uniform and in spirit, as he continues to inspire and entertain his community.
Spicer Brothers and CoastTV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a CoastTV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
Listen to Big 107.7, Delmarva's classic rock station.
We know Angela Alsobrooks got caught taking illegal tax breaks, owing $59,000 in back taxes.
And she's now getting a deal. No penalties and a 25% reduction in interest.
Now the New York Times reports Alsobrooks lied on official mortgage documents, and Alsobrooks was sued twice for not paying her bills. Thousands in water, sewer, and other expenses. What scandal will they report next? Maryland's Future is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Foul odors, discolored water, are you running out of hot water more quickly? These are all signs of sediment buildup in your water heater. And as the buildup becomes more severe, it can even cause a premature tank failure. Flushing the tank periodically can prevent these problems. FH Fur has you covered. Get a water heater flush for $49. That's right, a complete water heater flush for only $49. Act now and get a plumbing inspection free.
877-CALL-FUR, FHFur.com.
When you're close to the land and the sea, you can taste the goodness. The historic Lewis Farmers Market brings farms closer to tables. Meet the growers, talk to the people that milk the cows and pick the perfect apples, organically grown fruits and vegetables, sustainable meats and eggs, artisan breads, and fresh local seafood. The historic Lewis Farmers Market is now in the Lewis Elementary School parking lot on Savannah Road every Saturday from 9 to noon.
Your Ford dealer presents Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. The intelligently designed F-150 truck with hands-free highway driving. Want more? Visit your local Ford dealer. Get F-150 with 3.9 plus 3,000 bonus cash or Super Duty with 3.9 or 2,000 customer cash.
Are you feeling stuck and unable to live your life because of a tick-borne illness? Acupuncture is a holistic approach that can help minimize the long-term effects of tick-borne diseases such as alpha-gal.
I struggled with alpha-gal for years, and then I started a customized treatment plan at Delmarva Acupuncture, and Dr. Ashley really helped with my anxiety around food.
Acupuncture can help minimize the long-term effects of many tick-borne diseases.
To learn more about Delmarva Acupuncture and Wellness Center, visit delmarvaexperts.com.
Be cautious before you make that breakfast. Treehouse Foods has expanded its recall on frozen toaster waffles, Belgian waffles, and pancake products. This is due to potential listeria threats. Of recalled products, they were sold nationwide and in Canada under several brand names. The FDA says no related illness has been confirmed yet. Listeria infections can be fatal, though, for children and the elderly, as well as people with weak immune systems. For others, the symptoms include fever and nausea.
Most strokes happen to people 65 and older, but in the U.S., strokes are becoming more common in younger adults. Getting medical help quickly improves chances of survival, but experts say many may ignore or not recognize symptoms. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has stroke warning signs every adult should know, regardless of age.
The exact cause is still unknown, but around the world, more strokes are striking younger adults ages 18 to 49. Rate of stroke deaths among middle-aged U.S. adults hit a nearly 2-decade high during the COVID pandemic, according to the CDC.
It certainly is concerning.
Dr. Abbas Karal led research at Cleveland Clinic to figure out why younger patients he was seeing were having something called large vessel occlusion, which can cause an ischemic stroke, meaning a major artery in the brain is blocked.
The strokes that happen as a result of large vessel occlusion really happen because of plaque buildup, what we call atherosclerosis. And our study actually showed that those with strokes from large artery atherosclerosis or plaque buildup actually did worse after treatment.
Karal says that buildup can come from risk factors like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, a sedentary lifestyle, and unhealthy dietary habits.
That's why it's very important to make sure that even younger adults are seeing their primary care doctors, getting checked for those stroke risk factors, and if they have them, to make sure they're as controlled as possible.
Karal says all adults should also know stroke warning signs like eye or gaze deviation, one-sided weakness, arm or leg weakness, facial droop, and slurred speech. If these symptoms are present, get emergency help.
No age group is immune to stroke.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
In sports, ticket sales to this year's World Series expected to cost more than ever. How about $1,700 for a seat to the highly anticipated matchup between the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers? That's the average on the secondary market. The price is more than double the average ticket price for last year's World Series at about $776 per seat. Now, this year's high ticket prices likely due to a number of factors. Both teams hail from big cities. Each team features some of the biggest names in baseball, with the Dodgers' Shohei Ohtani and the Yankees' Aaron Judge. And it is the first time in more than 40 years that the Yankees and the Dodgers are meeting with a title on the line. The World Series kicks off on Friday in Los Angeles.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
What's going on, everybody? Fight Night is back on the peninsula, and it's a jam-packed weekend in the ring. And not only will stellar fights be going down in Harrington, Delaware, we will also have action in Salisbury, Maryland. This Saturday, October 26th, Main Street Gym is hosting its annual Fight or Fright Night in Salisbury. The night will feature amateur boxers from 13 total gyms with divisions ranging from youth, novice, and open classes. The doors open at 5:30 for the 6:30 p.m. event, and we'll have food, drinks, music, and a 50-50 drawing. Main Street Gym founder Hal Chernoff says on a night of fun, it's also a way for the community to learn more about the importance of amateur boxing.
It is a fantastic sport that does a lot more than people understand until their kids are involved in it. But it changes lives, and it changes them for the better. And we've seen it over and over and over. And now a large portion of the kids that are in Main Street Gym are not necessarily there to become great fighters. They just love the atmosphere. They don't have to worry. It's a safe spot where nobody gets bullied. Everybody helps everybody else out. It doesn't matter if you're overweight. It doesn't matter if you're small. None of that matters. Everybody's just working and trying to help each other. So, that's another reason that I like highlighting the sport and our program.
And all the action goes down Saturday night. That'll for sports. Have a great night, everybody.
Up next, the perfect excuse for a scary movie marathon. We're going to tell you about National Horror Movie Day.
Coming out of COVID, the cost of everything has gone up. I am an independent. Larry Hogan, being a Republican in a Democratic state, he represents Democrats, he represents Republicans, he represents the people of Maryland. He has a common sense ideology. He wants to cut back on the taxes, cut back on the bridge tolls. Those are what's affecting us on a daily basis. He wants to see the people of Maryland successful and financially secure.
Stand with Governor Hogan. Join our team by donating today.
I'm Larry Hogan, and I approve this message.
At Atlantic General Hospital, we've been busy. Busy expanding healthcare services that are second to none in our region. From cancer care and women's health services to orthopedics, gastroenterology, and more, we provide advanced health technologies delivered by top providers. Expert care every day. It's what you can count on from Atlantic General Hospital.
Tacoma has a dominant legacy as America's favorite small pickup for almost 2 decades. Known for reliability and capability. Now buy a Tacoma with low 4.99 APR or lease an SR for $279 a month.
This is my legacy.
Toyota, let's go places.
Builders, rental properties, and hotels. Reglaze your tubs and showers like new in just 1 day. Repair chips, cracks, or change the color. Call Hurl's Bath Repair for a free estimate.
Seen these attacks? They're not true. The Republican billionaires paying for them know it, and Larry Hogan does too. So why does a group of billionaires from outside Maryland care so much about our Senate race? Because they want power, and they know Larry Hogan will give Republicans control of the Senate. They'll pass trillions in new tax breaks for big corporations and the wealthy. But you know who they don't care about? You. I'm Angela Also Brooks, and I approve this message.
Next reel, it's the spookiest time of year, and one of these players could make a killing.
It's $1 million. It could be yours.
Thursday at 7 on CoastTV.
Next Jeopardy! Kiki's a contestant with a hobby or two.
Stained glass, tap dancing. I think I want to try taiko drumming.
Thursday at 7:30 on CoastTV.
Today is National Horror Movie Day. Horror films have been around about as long as movies themselves. They date back to 1886 with the 3-minute French film The Haunted Castle. Since then, filmmakers have given us a slew of suspense, supernatural, psychological, and gross-out horror flicks.
I can't come behind that one. Okay, so here we go. Ronald Cohen, you're not a horror story. This is a happy ending. You're our winner, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling with our umbrella giveaway. Now, if you want to keep up with your forecast, call 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away. Sponsored by the law offices of Baird, Mandalas, Brockstead, and Federico. And then finally, as you take a look at your extended forecast, we are going to have temperatures that are going to settle back to where they should be for this time of the year in the 60s, 69 and 68. Then we'll warm up to 72 on Sea Witch Parade Day, by the way. But then we go back to being really chilly for Sunday night going to Monday morning as we dip to the 30s. But then as we go to Halloween, we're going to go right back to 80 possibly record-setting degrees by the middle and end of next week.
I know Paul's just over there a little scared about those movies. Thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11.
For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, that's coming up next.
And we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.